I'll be talking about the 17.6% and 17.8% increases in this video, as well as how they affect your Social Security benefits, including retirement, disability, survivors, SSDI, and of course, Virginia beneficiaries. That's what this video is all about. Let's go over the specifics. In this video, I'll be discussing with you the specifics of two recently issued studies that contain some startling data. All of this has to do with the Social Security Administration's fixed income benefit, which you depend on each month. Now, very quickly, when the Social Security Administration announced the 2023 COLA, which was going to be 8.7%, do you recall anything about early 2023 or even late 2022? Since I filmed this video in 2024, it is evident that this was more than a year ago, but I'll give you a quick sample nevertheless. Since inflation was quite high at the time, the 8.7% COLA was declared. Soon after that announcement, several people approached us and said, "Hey, this is way too small. It must be doubled to 17.4%. Do you still recall that? Well, a lot of people were calling for the COLA to be doubled, and that was even mentioned in 2023. Many people have repeatedly expressed the opinion that we should offer these beneficiaries retroactive benefit payments for the true percentage amount of the COLA, which would be doubled to 17.4% in 2023. Obviously, then, that never did happen, right? Everyone is aware of that. It would have been quite pleasant for sure, but it never occurred. However, the recently released report, which, once again, I want to discuss with you in this video, now discusses 17.6% and 17.8% as well. By the way, the 17.4% COLA for 2023, if it had actually occurred, would likely have been much more in line with current conditions than the percentage I'll be discussing in this video. I'll be breaking down all of these numbers for you in this, as we have a lot of them here. But really quickly, please make sure to subscribe below if you've been enjoying this video thus far. You are very welcome to do so. Down there is a large subscribe button. Share the video on social media and with your friends and family as well. Down there is a share button. Please click the like button as usual. It gives it a thumbs up and once more lets me know through anonymous feedback how much you're liking this video. Okay, I really appreciate it, thank you, and let's discuss the specifics of this. Okay, so the report provides us with several different insights. First, it provides an average breakdown of the percentage rise over the previous 2 years. Please note that I am referring to all consumer items when I say general consumer goods. Can you guess how much they cost? Anything that you could purchase. You can probably guess how much the cost of consumer products has increased overall over the past few years. Once more, this is the average. This represents typical consumer goods. All right, so they've increased by 17.6% on average. But I'm also going to share with you some specifics, percentages, and information on other things that the majority of us spend the majority of our monthly income on, along with how much they have increased in the past few years. Await the numbers with anticipation. Guess how much, though, the COLAs have increased in only the last 3 years, including this year, 2024. Yes, it is 17.8%. That is what it boils down to then. 3.2% this year in 2024, 8.7% in 2023, and 5.9% in 2022. Am I correct? That means that, in the end, that comes out to 17.8%, right? Consequently, you might look at that and conclude, wow, we managed to sneak in a 17.8% benefit increase due to the COLA, even though average consumer prices increased by 17.6%. Yes, you could say that, I suppose. It would seem from the figures, hey, we're doing fine, right? However, that is untrue, especially if you ask any Social Security recipients you know. That is untrue, as they keep telling us, since the actual costs of the products that many of us purchase and spend the majority of our income on have increased by far more than 17.6% on average. But now, allow me to quickly share with you a few different percentages of various goods that have increased substantially more than that in the previous several years alone. Permit me to go over these in detail. Okay, so what about food? Do any of us purchase it? Do you purchase food? I'm hoping you do. I imagine that most of us purchase food. However, the fact remains that the cost of food has increased by 33.7% in the last 2 years alone. As a brief aside, the price of food generally increases about 2% year. But over the past few years, the price of food alone has increased by 33.7%. At the very least, most of us purchase food, right? Okay, that's just some food. All right, let's talk about shelter now. Apologies. The next one is shelter, should we? This one has increased by 18.7%, all right? Once more, how many of us consistently make rent payments? Again, maybe not everyone, but let me just say that the majority of us certainly pay for housing to some extent, and that amount has increased by 18.7% in the past few years alone. That one is up next. Energy is the next item on my list. How many of us have to pay for energy of some kind? Anything that is considered energy is acceptable. It could be electricity, heating oil, gas, or natural gas. Again, how many of us pay for that on a regular basis given the 32.8% increase in this? Okay, so maybe not all of us, but the most of us do. The majority of us allocate the majority of our income to these three categories, as you can all see, with increases of 33.7%, 18.7%, and 32.8% in just those three areas alone. I apologize, but that's not the same as the 17.6% that they keep telling us has increased in average price. Okay? That's average for a number of items we don't purchase. But let's examine the categories where the majority of us spend the most of our money. That's the categories I just listed for you, correct? Anyway, to cut a long tale short, the Great Division is evidently in action. It makes sense why Social Security recipients are currently facing such hardships. Your advantages are actually disappearing. Isn't it akin to a river traversing the terrain? When it erodes and sucks away all the dirt over time, it suddenly carves a lovely little trail through the landscape, don't you think? The inflation situation remains unchanged. It has reduced the purchasing power of Social Security recipients and has essentially taken all of their money, leaving them with practically nothing. Anyway, I just want to briefly share this one with you in this video. What is happening is insane. Let me now quickly go back full circle on this. Recall that I mentioned the COLA for 2023 a minute ago at the start of the movie, and some suggested it should have been doubled to 17.4%. That would have provided an additional 8.7% over the well. Basically, above the advantages, isn't that right? So allow me to quickly do the arithmetic for you. Recall that while average prices increased by 17.6%, Social Security payouts increased by 17.8%. If we had added an additional 8.7% on top of that, we would have been much closer to the average price increases. Well, not exactly, but closer nonetheless. By the way, if my mental math is right, that would have taken us closer to about 26.5%, where benefits would have actually increased if they had doubled the COLA from 2023, the 8.7%. That's a whopping 26.5%, closer to those typical prices I showed you a minute ago for those three bulk goods, which are what most of us spend most of our money on. Do you understand what I'm saying? They keep telling us, don't worry, inflation has gone down and it's gone away. But I want to share this detail with you so you can see the specifics behind all of this. Perhaps in their small bubble, but not in our large one. It hasn't for us, that's for sure. In any case, I just want to briefly share this with you. Please do yourself a great favor and subscribe using the form below if you haven't already. Complete freedom to comply. Return to the channel and watch any of the thousands of additional movies available there, either in the video library or the ones I've personally picked for you in the description or at the top of the comment section. I'll see you later. Until then, have a wonderful day, be careful and enjoy yourself.